a lot of people are too precious with the things that they make, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
think that holds back a lot. A lot of people are held back by being too precious. If you look at The Simpsons, that first season, the animation is so rough. There's so many mistakes. The characters' voices they don't sound as like they do like during the golden era of that show. I think that made me feel less precious about making the first one because I know it's gonna improve. Nice.
Rhys, hello.
Hello, Lisa.
You are a writer, an animator, a voice actor. You're a jack of all trades filmmaker. I'm so happy to finally be sitting down speaking with you. Welcome.
I'm a bad voice actor, but I'm a better writer and animator.
No, you're not a bad voice actor. Oh my
No?
gosh. No, you're not a bad one. I feel like, do you think it's weird to like hear your voice back? I mean, you hear it back a lot because you do all the editing, but is it still weird for you?
Uh, I mean, the voice is so different that I just don't really see it as myself, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I feel like next time I do any voice work other than like for Maya, because now she has such a defined voice that is literally mine,
Yeah.
I would have to like change my voice in a way just to get some separation. For our conversations, we've had several of them. We've known each other for like, oh my God, has it been like close to 2 years now?
Yeah.
Wow. That's insane. Do you want to tell the people how we met?
I made Alligator Springs. I did a pilot episode because I was like, oh, I really want to have a TV show made. And then we made the pilot episode, but Alisa is not in that. And your character Maya shows up for like 1 second on screen.
Mm.
And so she was voiced by my writing partner at the time, who, we were like pitching ideas back and forth. I needed a voice for that character. We didn't have anyone, so she was like, okay, I'll just do the voice. Like one line of dialogue. And then when we were doing episode 2, she said, okay, I think you should get someone who can act, like is talented enough to voice this character. And so we came across your YouTube channel where you were reviewing Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And I was happy to see that because I'm a huge Donald Glover fan. And at the time, everyone was bashing that show because I didn't realize how loved the original Mr. and Mrs. Smith movie is.
Yeah,
And so
that.
everyone was like unfairly bashing it. And you
Mm.
were one of the first people that we saw that actually got the show. And we were just like, yeah, her voice sounds great. Elisa's voice sounds amazing. And I reached out to you on LinkedIn, and now you're voicing Maya. And you've done like 7 episodes now, right? Has it
No,
been
it's
five,
been
6, 7? Yeah.
because, yeah, our last block was like 5 episodes, and then the first two or three from
Mm.
the second part. I actually did not realize there was so much slander around Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Maybe I get confused because like I watched the press tours, so I was like, Donald Glover was like, this is not this is not like the movie. Like I
Mm.
tried my best to like pull pieces, but like this will never be anything like that movie. And it swung so opposite, even like the awkwardness of their characters is nothing like Brad and Angelina are like sexy people, and then they're just like everyday people. So I
Yeah.
don't even understand how people would compare them.
I mean, I didn't even know that film was so beloved. You know,
Oh
I,
yeah.
I'm like, okay, it's a fine movie.
Yeah.
But then I don't know. I love the TV show. I think the TV show is great. But yeah, when you were talking about it, I was just like, hearing your voice when you were speaking. I know, like, being on YouTube. I guess it's getting to the point now where having a YouTube channel is like having a TV channel, right?
Yeah.
And so that was the first video I saw of yours, obviously. And then I was just like, wow, it's like the way you're presenting and the way you're talking about it is very like it's like a character. There's so much like emotion in your voice from just talking about a TV show. And I was just I was just picturing that voice with Maya, and I was like, okay, I didn't. And I tried reaching out to you. I didn't know how I was going to do it, and so I found your LinkedIn, found your IMDb. So I knew you were into acting.
Can you tell the people a little bit more about Alligator Springs and how it came to be? I feel like I've asked you this before, but let's get it on the record. How did Alligator Springs come about?
Alligator Springs, it basically is just a amalgamation of all the things that I love. Like literally everything that's in that show is just something that I'm like, I would love to see that in a show. Like I said, the I wanted to make a TV show, um, and I did a lot of live action stuff before, but I didn't have the budget to really pull off what I wanted to. And whenever I would do camera movements in live action, all my friends would say, you know, that it's a camera movement that would be done if you had a budget, but you're doing it for nothing. With animation, you can do anything. You know, you can go to America. You know, you can live in the UK, go to America. With animation, you can do anything. A lot of the stories that I wanted to tell would be expensive in live action. So animation just made a lot of sense. I had a little bit of background knowledge in animation because I went to an art school and I learned a bit of animation there. And Jordan, who's in the show, who voices Oscar, we went to university together, and he would just tell me all these crazy stories about Florida and what it's like living over there, and that kind of, I guess, created a romanticized image of Florida in my head. And so I was just
Truly.
like, okay, it's going to be set in Florida. It's about these three characters, and every episode is just going to be them surviving something crazy. You know,
Yeah,
whether it's like sirens invading your dreams or gun violence. You know, we just cover everything
truly.
and do it
Honestly, I
episodic.
think you're the first person in history to romanticize Florida, and like I think the Floridians would really love you for that.
Yeah, I mean, I
So
love it. When I went there, I was like, this is the best place ever. And then every American is like, oh, Florida sucks. Florida's terrible.
yeah, I mean it's I can see why Florida would be fun. You know, I
Mm,
definitely have been to Disney World there and been like, this is the best time ever. You know, like
yeah.
when I was in high school, like the world championships, I would compete in those. They were always in Florida. So I can say
Okay.
I have very like good memories of Florida, even though like
Yeah.
it's common to shit on Florida.
But it's a beautiful place. Do you not think it's a beautiful place?
It is beautiful. It is beautiful. It's like it is like pretty humid though, and I think that I don't love that, but I could get over
Mm.
that.
I mean, the characters in Alligator Springs don't like it. They don't like being there. But I feel
Yeah.
like that comes from me. So, okay, I guess the show is like living in a city when you don't want to live in a city. That's what the characters are going through, right? And I live in a city because I live in London, and I don't want to be here. I would rather be in the States. And I know that's crazy
Mhm.
to say, but with what everything's going on right now, but but I don't know this. I know. I guess I've just been here long enough now that it's getting a bit mundane, and I guess that's how the characters in the show feel.
Mhm.
I there's there I don't think I've ever told you this, but there's whenever I tell someone that I made, I get a lot of questions from people asking me like, why did I set Alligator Springs in America rather than in England? And when I tell people, it's like almost like slander, like, oh, why can't you represent England? Like, we don't get enough representation in cartoons. The reason behind that is because American accents just sound nicer and they're more appealing to a wider audience. So that's why I did that.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's insane because I have now living in New York made a lot of friends who are from London, and I did not realize that like you guys like I guess it's not uncommon that American TV is just like all over the world. But I'm
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
we really know the same shows. Like we were really growing up watching the same shows. So I think you guys almost have like a normalization to like our voices. I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a British accent is like out of this world. I wish that was my first native accent.
But no, you're right about that because whenever whenever I watch anything on TV and I hear a British accent, it really sticks out to me like, oh, that person's British, you know? And I never get that with like American voices.
But and you don't feel that way even though like you hear British accents all day long, or do you hear them as much? Would you say like London is kind of um diverse with
Yeah, London's
accents?
really diverse.
Mm,
I know a lot of Americans just from being in London.
Wow.
So yeah, so that's the thing.
Interesting. You've always been creative, and I can tell from our conversations. I am interested to know in your first notable creative project. Tell me about it.
My first creative project,
Yeah,
what that I put online or just in general?
just in general. Like, what kick-started it and, like, gave you that, like, bite where you're like, oh, I'm never gonna not create something in this way?
Oh, I mean, I feel like in my life I've just had periods of like this thing inspired me, so I'm gonna make something similar to this. And then the more that I've matured, the more I've just like I said, like Alligator Springs is just an amalgamation of all these different ideas, right? Um, as a kid, do you know what Wallace and Gromit is?
Yes.
Okay, so as a kid, that really inspired me, Wallace and Gromit. And so I was like, okay, I want to do animation, and I want to work for Disney. And I think when I went to university and I started meeting more creative people who kind of had big dreams of, okay, I don't want to live here anymore. I want to go work for Disney, or I want to go work for Aardman, or all these different things. That was when I was like, okay, I can just make these projects with people that I'm friendly with. And the first thing that I put online was a series called Channels, and it was just like live action short films that had there's no connection to them. It's just like an anthology
Black
of all these
Mirror.
short films. Yeah, yeah, kind of like Black Mirror, but not as much substance behind it. Because and it's interesting because I made those because I was like, oh, I want to learn how to do film. So that was like my film school outside of university because it was during COVID as well. So I didn't really, I know a lot of opportunities kind of went a bit south. And then yeah, I made this live action short film series called Channels. And what's interesting watching that back is that you'll see it goes from me wanting to be a cinematographer and it just being, okay, I'm going to film this because this looks pretty. Like the first one is just my friends. It's called Rich Kids of America. And it's just my friends sitting on a hill and me filming them just like smoking weed to get together. And then as it went on, there was more of a story and there was kind of connections between the episodes. And I think that led to Alligator Springs being more, okay, like it's episodic, but you have three friends, you have them facing off against something every episode, and there was more structure to it rather than just being like, oh, I want to film this because I've always wanted to film, I don't know, this kind of conversation, or I've always wanted to film, someone taking drugs and doing it in a creative way. You know, the type of things that university students want to do, and then going, okay, like how can I make it more memorable than just, oh, that looks cool, you know?
Right. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
sensing a pattern. America, friends hanging out, and
Yeah.
then it evolves as you evolve.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Well, because I went to university with Jordan,
Yeah.
and we're kind of like the opposite, right? Where he's always lived in America and I've always been here,
Hmm.
and we just contrast each other, right? Like we joke and say we should just swap lives, and that'd be easier.
That would be a concept, actually. That's kind of
Yeah,
smart.
yeah.
Was the path from the concept of Alligator Springs or even channels to completion anything like you expected?
Yeah, it's easier than I thought it would be,
Really?
Yeah. Because like that was one of the things when watching BoJack Horseman and The Simpsons, especially The Simpsons growing up, I'd always wanted to do that and just thinking, oh, I'll never be able to do this because you need this much money, you need this thing, and then I don't know when you sit down and really think about it, like I, one thing I say to people who want to get into animation is that if you can draw, then you can animate. It will just take time to like. If you look at the first Alligator Springs episode, the characters look so off model, compared to now. It's like the more episodes that we've made, the more I've realized, okay, like this is actually how you draw the character opposed to this. So you see it like you're teaching yourself. For example, in the first episode, their necks are it's such a weird thing to talk about, but their necks kind of line up too much with their chins.
Mhm.
and you never really see the neck touch the back of their head, which is like, for humans, like we have that. Like if I turn to the side, you can see my neck lines up with my ear and the back of my head. And so like if you watch episode 3 compared to the first one, they then have that. And it's just, I don't know, you're just seeing the drawings improve. You're seeing like, okay, like anatomy improve. And it wasn't like I had a character sheet or anything when I made that first episode. I was just like, I just want to make it. And then, you know, that's the best attitude to have when you make something. Just do it.
Right, right. I've been hearing that so much. Like a lot of successful people, they get right to it. They don't really think too much in between.
Yeah.
Do you think spending so much time with the characters, like being the animator and the editor, that kind of pointed out those things to you to fix or evolve within the way they look?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Well, I think another thing as well, a lot of people are too precious with the things that they make, right? And I think
Hmm.
that holds back a lot. A lot of people are held back by being too precious. You're you want to make something, but you think, "Oh, I don't, I know that my animation skills aren't up to standard. So if someone watches this who works for Disney, like I don't know, there's just like weird thought in your back of your head, like, okay, if a professional sees this, they're gonna think, oh, it's shit, and then they're gonna want to like not watch the rest of it, right? But the thing is, like, if you look at The Simpsons, the that first season, the animation is so rough. There's so many mistakes. The characters' voices aren't, they don't sound as like they do like during the golden era of that show. And so I think because I know that this is a series and it's a series that I just love making it. Like I know I'm going to want to keep making more and more and more. I think that made me feel less precious about making the first one because I'm like I know it's going to improve. And you kind of do have to see it like film school, like yeah, I'm going to get better over time.
I think people, and myself included, I'm really trying to unlearn this, but it is really hard to be a beginner sometimes where people can see every little thing that you're doing or everything that you may not think looks the best or sound the best. It's hard to just show up and then I guess it's just that it's kind of difficult to just kind of put your flaws out like that.
Well,
It's a
how
very
did you
vulnerable
feel?
thing to do.
How did you feel voicing Maya for the first time?
I
Do you get that as
think,
well?
yeah, for sure. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to work on this. Like, is that what I sound like? Even though when I
We sound
was,
good.
thank you, thank you. I think it's just a thing where, like, we kind of are our biggest critics. We get in our own heads, we get imposter syndrome. Like, I definitely am not free from that, even though I act like that doesn't affect me. It definitely does.
But no, I was so proud when you came onto the project because like before that's this is another thing as well, right? I think when you make something, it's an idea from your head, and I don't really get nervous when it comes to making things, but I would say one of the few times that I really got nervous was pitching Alligator Springs 2 to you because
Really?
yeah, because I was like, this is someone who I potentially want around to like continuously voice this character, and if she doesn't like it, and she's like, oh, I don't know, I feel this is, I don't know, like working, the best thing the best outcome that you can have from working with a crew of people is having them believe in the project. And because I really wanted you to believe in the project, because from that first YouTube video, I was like, her voice sounds so great for this character. Like it's like I need to impress her with this, and if she's not impressed, then that's kind of like my fault. That's my bad.
I feel it's crazy because I felt you were so passionate on our first call, but now that every single time after that I've spoken to you, it's like that passion grows even more. And that
Yeah, yeah.
is contagious. That's so contagious. And I feel like I get that fire a little bit more in my other work that I do too. Um, just because I've seen how you care so much about the work that you do and what you put out, and like you really trust your ideas and you value the work that you do, and that's super contagious.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah, of
That's really nice
course.
to hear. I think that's part of it too, because I'm, I think if you're going to make something, especially a series, you have to be a fan of it. Because
Mhm.
if you don't like what you're making, then why would you want to make another episode? And I think
Right.
that's the reason why. those 3 episodes got made in that one year, because I I was like, I want to know what happens next. I want to see that, even though I know what happens next, I want to see the next episode. I want to see how it looks, and you have to be a fan of it. And so that's one of the things that I'm most appreciative about, is that, like, when we talk about it, or when we have those, like, I don't know, those, like, little writers' room sessions, or the voice acting sessions, right? It's
The
really nice
table
that,
read?
yeah, the table reads, like, you, JD, Joseph, Nicola, like, you're all, like, so into it, you know. And then I don't know, it's just, being a fan of it as well, when you see actors bringing to life the characters that you've written, the dialogue that you've written, it is a bit like a little nerdy moment where you're like, damn, this actually coming to life, you know?
Yeah, it's like really a dream come true, I imagine. I mean,
Mm.
even seeing it, like reading the script and then actually seeing the project be fulfilled, it feels like the same to me too. It's super exciting to like share that with my friends and my family. You know, it's a very proud moment.
Yeah, it's nice when I noticed that your mom reshares some things as well, so that's really nice.
Oh, she's always gonna reshare.
Yeah, yeah.
What has been the most surprising feedback you received on the series?
Uh, Surprising in a good way or a bad way?
Any, either,
I
both,
know.
all.
I guess I'm always surprised when people get offended over the tiniest things.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't think Alligator Springs is on the level of, like, a South Park, or even The Simpsons. I don't think we've ever, like, gone, like, beyond the line when it comes to joke. I would say it's pretty tame for the most part.
Yeah,
Other than, like, swearing, it's pretty tame. But then I've had a
totally.
couple friends come up to me and they're like, "Oh yeah, I showed my friend, and my friend got offended by this joke." I'm like, okay, okay.
I love anger.
But I don't know. That's, I guess it's also kind of cool, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
super cool.
But
What?
there's a Boondocks episode where one of the characters is, like, so happy to finally get hate, and I'm like, yeah, that's me, like, laying back in bed, like, I've got a hater, you know.
So we just learned that Alligator Springs won Best Animated Film at the London Film Club. What's it
Yeah.
like seeing your work resonate with a whole new audience?
Well, I don't even know yet, because it's happening on the 28th.
Right,
So
but I guess they selected it though, right? So that is, how does that part
yeah,
feel?
yeah. Well, because I submitted it not thinking that we would win an award, and just being like, yeah, like, I'll just submit because I need to get into the practice of submitting things. And I was going to their network, because they host networking events, monthly networking events, I think. And it's always been really good. They always have really good turnouts, and I've met people who I'm friends with now who are, like, in the industry. And so, yeah, when people say you should go to networking events, you know, you really should take that advice and do it, because it is important to connect with people who are on your level. A lot of people, when they try to connect with people, they try and connect to, like, above themselves. Like, I
Yeah.
want to impress this person, but I think it's good to connect across. And so they were doing that. So I thought, okay, maybe there is a chance that I could, like, at least get it screened. And then when I got the email that said, you know, winner, I was like, that's crazy. And I was with Jordan at the time as well, so we were both really happy. And we were also kind of tipsy as well, because we were at a bar and he came from Florida. So I had to, like, recheck the email a couple times. Like, is this legit? Is that actually what's happening? But I would say I'm kind of nervous as well, because the only thing that I don't want is for a joke to happen and there's an audience of people watching it on a big screen, and there's just dead air. Like, that's what I don't want to happen. So if that doesn't happen and people actually laugh at the right points, then I'll be very happy, and I'll let you know how that goes.
Good. But you're for sure gonna be there though, right? On the 28th
Yeah,
to
yeah,
see. Cool.
yeah. So I can tell you about it.
What would be your ultimate dream for Alligator Springs?
Simpsons money. That's actually the ultimate.
Yeah.
Everyone wearing Alligator Springs t-shirt, and everyone knowing what it is.
Yeah. Where would it be? Where would it be streamed or viewed?
Oh, I mean, okay, so one of my favorite TV shows of all time is Atlanta.
Hmm.
And I think FX is like the A24 of TV. So probably I would say FX. That
Ooh.
would be, yeah.
How many episodes in a season?
Eight, 8 or 10. Yeah,
How long?
they'd be 20 minutes. Especially for TV, I don't know, some TV shows go on for so long. And I just like it when a show is like quick in and out. You know
Yeah.
exactly what you're getting. We talked about this a lot, but I love episodic TV. You know,
Yeah.
that's kind of like what I want for this series. I don't want people to think, oh, okay, in order to get to this point, I have to watch like the previous episode. Like, no, you can just jump in anytime, you know.
Truly.
And
That's a good
I
call.
like giving the audience. Oh, was up?
No, I was saying that's a good concept. And I do think that like
Mm.
you're really good at like keeping us engaged the whole story. Like it does not feel like it ever runs on or there's something there
Oh,
that just like doesn't need to be there or like I'm lost like my attention is lost. I've never felt that.
I think that there definitely needs to be more music in it because we have the credit song,
Yeah.
and I think that something I want for the future episodes, the ones that we wrote and recorded, I'm going to try and score them so they have a little like orchestral or like instrumental moments like in
Yeah.
between or in the background. Yeah, I think that's what makes a lot of like great cartoons stand out, right? Because it really is like a radio show, you know, and you just get an animation on top of that. And so having
Exactly.
if I could manage to get like a I don't know like a Christopher Nolan-esque like score for Alligator Springs and make it really cinematic, that would
Yes.
be a dream as well.
That
Yeah.
would literally change the whole like dynamic of
Yeah.
the show, I feel. So, for Alligator Springs, you've decided to make merch and you are getting ready to publish the Alligator Springs Handbook. Can you
Mm.
walk me through how the handbook came about?
Oh, I just love art books. That's literally it. Like whenever I watch a movie now, I mean, I didn't have any until like a month ago, and then uh, I guess make working. Okay, so best way to view it is the 3 episodes of Alligator Springs that are out now. It's like the foundation of that
Mhm.
show, right? And so with the next 5 that we've recorded, and we're going to animate. I want that to, I want it to feel a bit more, I don't know, a bit more structured. Like I said, with the character designs, I want them to, feel, I want them to be, I don't want them to go off model when we're animating them. I want them to stay on model. And so I've been looking at a lot of art books and how they do it. I have all those by my feet as well. And and like I got a Futurama one, I have a Spider-Verse one, and they're really nice books to look at and just think, wow, all the effort that went into making that. Like it's something that you can't get from a live action film, really, right? Like you have like them do paintings or like the concept art and stuff, but when you're flicking through the pages of like an animated film or a TV show, it's like you're just seeing the skeleton of that show. And I know it's just it's cool owning like a physical thing from a TV show or movie, right? That I know you feel really passionate about. And so just flicking through those books, I was like, oh, I really want to make one for Alligator Springs. And again, I was just like, oh, I'll just do it. But now that I'm seeing what it looks like in hand, I know I'm a bit nervous to put out a book because making books isn't my thing.
But I actually like that you are giving the show that range. I mean, think of all the people that are going to be introduced just because they have found this book now. And then there's a series to go along with it. I've never, I've never seen anything like that. I think it's super cool.
Yeah, the best page is your foreword.
Thank
That
you.
reads really nicely, and then every other page just reads awful. All the grammar's fucked
Stop.
up.
Do you have a release date yet or like a general idea?
Yeah, I'm gonna do. So I did 2 proof of copies for the book, and then I'm gonna do a third one because I like how it looks, but um, the cover of the hardback right now is a little bit too green. The image that I showed you,
Yeah.
and so I want to do like another revamp of the cover, and then once that comes back, I'll probably figure out a release date for it.
Cat Carnated is your latest project as a writer, director, and animator. What can you tell me about the project now while it's still in development?
I mean, it's almost done. It's just the sound design,
Mhm.
uh, and it's just because I'm not very good at sound design. I think sound design is really difficult Like you really have to have a good ear for that. Um, but especially with animation as well, you know, like sound effects are really important. Like sound is 50% of the film, so that's something that I'm a bit more like cautious of when it comes to like the filmmaking because the animation I know I can do that, the writing I know I can do, but this the sound design I always spend a bit more time doing that. But my plan for it is to be a festival release rather than an online release. And so now because Alligator Springs is in a festival, I think I guess that was kind of like the test. Like, okay, if I can get this episode of Alligator Springs into a festival, I feel like I can probably get Cat Carnated in, and uh, and yeah, we got in, so I feel a bit more like confident about it.
Wait, so it's more of like a film than a TV show?
Yeah, Cat Carnated is just a one short film.
So sound design was probably the hardest for you to crack. What would you say that came the most natural?
For Cat Carnated,
Hmm.
yeah, definitely that animation.
Would you
Yeah,
say the
because
style is different?
it's like it's the Alligator Springs style, but it's just more rough looking, you
Hmm.
know. Because with this one, um, one of the inspirations was a film called Birth Controlled. Because I went to a film festival, and I wanted to see okay like I submitted to a festival before, and I didn't get in. I went thinking okay I want to know, you know what's their criteria like what kind of films are they looking for, and um, I saw this amazing film called Birth Controlled, and it's about a woman who um, she has sex with a bunch of different guys, and then she goes onto this game show, and on the game show she has to decide, okay, do I keep or do I abort the child? And it's a film about how women should just like decide for themselves like what to do with their bodies. But the animation on this film was so grotesque and disgusting, and very rough. Like the lines overlap. It's things like this, and I was just like, yeah, that really works for that film. You know, it's like it makes it hit harder, the look of it. And I know it's just really cool seeing a film that was the best of that festival, and they weren't trying to have this really clean, perfect looking style. And so when I made Cat Carnage, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of gonna borrow that element of it, and just because one, I can get it done quicker. Because with Alligator Springs, I feel like I'm constantly drawing the same eyeballs and being like, okay, that doesn't look good, so then I redo it, you know, trying to get it more round. And then with Cat Carnage, I'm just like, I kind of want it to look a bit more sketchy because it's a darker story. But I don't know, I guess it's still in line with Alligator Springs, where it's like it's dark, but it's not taking itself super serious, you know.
So you have been doing some work on sets lately, as you
Mm.
mentioned. What's been the most surprising part about that?
The most surprising part about being on set is that, uh, well, this is something that I've been thinking about a lot. Is that you have these producers come on set. You have a TV show and there's 11 different producers, and they're all doing different jobs and they're all running around and they're stressing. And then you've got those producers who are just kind of like laid back and you can tell they don't really want to be there. And then it's like all the location marshals and all the runners are just really passionate and excited to be there. And that level of passion from someone who's like on a much lower position compared to someone who's like on the top, yeah, I know that's really interesting to see. Another thing that really surprised me about being on set is that you go on set and you know you're connecting with people and you're thinking, okay, like why are you here? Like what got you into film? What's your favorite movie? You know, asking all these questions. And a lot of the time when you ask someone what got you into film, they'll just say, yeah, I didn't want to work in retail anymore. Okay, that's fair enough.
And I know that's exactly how you responded.
But no, I love being on set. It's good because doing animation, like obviously you can't be on set unless you know the table reads count as being on set, I guess. But other than that, you know, if I want to move the camera closer, I just draw that. You know, so it's nice being on a set um, where you can actually see, you know, like a set being built. So yeah, it's really fun. You just have those moments where like I'm so happy to be here.
Like with the work that we do, even though we all like essentially like live in different countries, Not all of us, but you know, we're all very spread out. I do like that you still keep that community aspect. Like we still film together and stuff like
Yeah.
that, or record together. We still do the table reads together. That makes it feel so much more like a set too, even though like I'm here in New York, you're in the UK, Cam is in Texas, JD's in
Mm.
Florida.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
let's talk about that because that is actually my favorite aspect of making anything.
Really? Okay, okay, let's get into it.
Because for you guys, it's like you get to do all the fun stuff of acting together, and I'm really excited because I'm seeing everyone like come to life, and then um and then once it's all wrapped, it's just me on my own, just
Oh
drawing
my gosh.
constantly. But but no, I that yeah, that what you just said is my favorite aspect of it, and I think like we're really close now. I mean, you like we're good friends,
Yeah.
and that just came from like doing these table reads together and talking about this show. And now we just have conversations where we don't even have to like talk about anything in particular, right? And that's a
Right.
good feeling, you
That
know.
is a good feeling. Oh my
Because when we
God.
started, yeah, when we first started doing it, I remember thinking, okay, how do I approach this? Do I approach this like a boss or like a friend? And then I think
Right.
as it goes on, it's like yeah, like we're so many people in film they take it super serious, right? And I think filmmaking it should be fun, you know. Like
Totally.
I don't want anyone to like watch Alligator Springs and be like, well, yes, there's like a real da da da. This means this and this. Like I mean, there are those things in there, but I think like what makes it so special for me is that we all like come together and have fun making it, rather than taking it like so serious. Like okay, there's a really serious episode and one of the ones coming up, and it
Yeah.
could have been like, oh yeah, this is a really sad episode and everyone's like really somber, but it's just like it's a cartoon, like yeah, and it's
Yeah.
nice like because it's like bringing two different worlds together where I've got JD and Niccolo who I met in university, Joseph as well, and then bringing those guys into a project where they're finally getting to meet you and Cam and Nicola who um, we met doing like solely Alligator Springs. It's like two worlds colliding, you'll get along, and Cam really surprised me like a lot when we filmed the when we recorded the third episode because
Yeah.
I don't think she's ever voice acted before, but
No.
she was so good. When you were a kid, were you ever the kind of kid that would play with like Barbie dolls or stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like I think maybe that's the start of every creative, right? Like you have your
Mhm.
Barbie dolls or your action figures, and you're bringing them to life with your voices, and you're making these stories. And I think as you
True.
get older, you you get out of that stuff obviously, but then it's like it kind of comes back and like you figure out how to do that without looking like a kid, you know. And maybe it's the same for her. Like I think everyone who draws, everyone who directs, everyone who writes is in the back of your mind you are kind of an actor, you know, because like even when
Mhm.
you write something, you're like reenacting it in your head, right?
Totally. Your work that you've been doing on set, does that increase your interest in live action filmmaking, or does it influence how you'll animate projects differently as you grow in the industry?
I think it makes me more scared to do live action again, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, because uh yeah, with animation, it's just everything is in front of you, and it's really easy. You just schedule things, and you're like, okay, today I'm
Mhm.
gonna do this background. I'm gonna animate this character. I'm gonna do this prop or this movement. Whereas being on a set, when you're there and you see it, there are those moments where you just sit back and you're like, damn, there's like one person. Okay, let's say you're someone like Tarantino, right? And he's got a big set. It's like, wow, how do you go from? I know he's got money now, obviously,
Yeah.
but how do you go from like your let's say his first film, right? Okay, this is my first film to now for the first time handling a whole team of people from like catering to location marshals to the lighting crew. You know, it's very intimidating. I think animation maybe isn't intimidating if you know how to animate.
Right.
Um, But I mean, I would love to do it one day. You know, I still have an interest in doing live action, but I think as the years go on, I'm more and more and more and more invested in solely doing animation. So
But do you think like when Alligator Springs gets bigger, would you have a team then? Because I also have like I love to collaborate with people, like even just like us getting on the phone and talking about our creations, like that feels so collaborative to me, whether we're working on the same project or not. But I also know how to do all the things myself. So when I'd have to hand that over to someone, I do get nervous about things like that.
mm,
Do you feel that way too?
yeah, yeah, I think I would because I think like if it did ever get sold as a show, I would want to write a contract that says like I have final say over everything. You know? But then
Yeah.
like but then I do think that's um there's a lot of fun that can be had to someone taking your idea and doing something different with it, right? So like I would love to have someone come on to Alligator Springs and then write an episode that I like I'm not watching them behind their back as they're writing it. Like I would love for them to just go off, write an episode, come back and be like, okay, this is what I came up with. And I know because I imagine it'd be cool seeing the characters written by someone other than myself. Because like, when me and Joseph we collaborated on 3 of the upcoming episodes, and it's cool to see Joseph like come up with ideas. I'm like, yeah, like why didn't I think of that? That's such a good idea. Or like he says something like, okay, why this character does this or is known for this thing, so why don't you make them do this or say that? I'm just like, yeah, like that idea wouldn't have happened if like he didn't say that, you know.
Yeah.
So I think it is good to have that input in there. But yeah, I guess it would be scary if I think as long as someone doesn't come in and ruin it, then it'll be fine. Like I think there's definitely like rules to the characters that they'd have to follow.
Do you have these written out? Like, would you give them a guideline before they like write an
Yeah,
episode?
yeah, yeah. There'd be a guideline. Like they're cartoon
Oh,
characters, but they can't. They're not the Looney Tunes. You know, they can't like fall off a
yeah.
cliff and survive. You know. So,
Rhys, what should people look out for and where can they find you?
you can find me on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok. It's all the same name, Rhys J Boughton. The J
Right
is a
here.
letter somewhere.
Here.
Yeah, on my face.
We have come to the end of the road for today. You're invited back whenever you'd like. Thank you so much for talking with me and like letting me pick your brain, talking about creation, talking about your creation. Yeah, I hope you had fun. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about before you go?
No, I think this has been good. I mean, I definitely have more questions for you about Alligator Springs, but
Oh
um,
my God.